Hi guys, welcome back to the Small Loft Workshop. In this short video I thought we would discuss French cleats. Looking at YouTube, French cleat does seem to be the mechanism of choice to add tool storage to the periphery of their workshops. And I see some very specific and bespoke solutions to hang almost anything off the wall of your workshop. I too am considering using French cleats on the walls of my small band workshop over in France. And because they're small and quite portable, it means I can get a jump on them here in the small loft workshop and then transport them over there. The cleat itself is really easy to make. You just get a wide board and rip it down the middle at 45 degrees or similar, or two narrower boards and again cut them at 45 degrees so they fit together. Plain 1-inch stock or 18mm plywood is ideal for this kind of job, and it's a great way of using up the offcuts that you have lying around your workshop. Once the cleats are machined, it's just a case of fixing the lower one to your wall and the higher one to whatever it is you're going to mount. For the attachment itself, you can be as creative as you want. Here I'm demonstrating with a very simple shelf to stand my Festool screw gun on. With regards to the number of cleats, you need one at the top to suspend the item, and then at least another cleat, which is my preferred method, or a packer at the base to stop that pendulum effect and make the whole thing unstable. If you like, you can line your entire wall with these, which gives you a little bit more flexibility of placing tools or relocating them across the wall. I first came across these cleats, or opposing cleats as we then called them, when I was in shop fitting years ago, and we used them to align slat line panels around the periphery of shops. Slat wall is something you've probably all seen but maybe never really noticed it. Slat wall is just panelling with grooves at usually about 100mm centres that allow points of display units just to clip in and hang there around the perimeter of the shops. We used to machine them on the CNC router with a T-groove 100mm apart across the width of the board. Probably it was the most boring job I ever had in woodworking, with each panel taking about 10 minutes to make, so a lot of standing around between pressing the start and the stop button. We used to make miles of cleat from 1x2 timber, but mainly on the spindle moulder rather than at the saw, because it makes it much easier and safer when you have a power feed going on the spindle moulder, and if you get the timing right, you could run CNC router machining the slat wall and the spindle moulder machining the cleats at the same time. We would leave a little flat part on the end of the cleat rather than a sharp edge. That way, when you fix your cleats to the wall, if any dust or debris falls within the void at the back of the cleat, it doesn't stop the top part of the cleat seating properly. So why are these cleats called French cleats? Well, the story goes that the French Navy used to use them to fix paraphernalia to the inside of their timber ships. But of course we call it French cleat, but the French just call it a cleat, or actually more specifically tarquette. But of course this would only be possible because an English guy, a Mr. Newton, who was a talented mathematician and maker and used Pythagoras to set out his staircase, invented gravity when his chisel dropped off his workbench and dulled the corner. A few years later, a French guy, Mr. Bonaparte, who had created a flotilla of floating workshops, ateliers, was frustrated when his tools kept falling overboard. Monsieur Bonaparte's plan was to plunder England's stock of cheap and plentiful sheet materials. So to help him with his tool problem, he appointed France's #1 maker, a Monsieur Philippe Fallope, who previously had invented a really easy access beach sandal. Monsieur Philippe Fallope, along with the help of his Black & Decker jigsaw, cut a piece of wood, bois, down the length at 45 degrees, more or less, and stuck it to the wall. Monsieur Bonaparte was delighted.
Bravo, monsieur.
Unfortunately for Monsieur Bonaparte, his plan met a sticky end when another English guy, Mr. Nelson, who really wished he bought saw stop, mischievously drilled holes in Monsieur Bonaparte's floating workshops with a battery drill, an 8-amp battery, and a viciously sharp Forstner bit. Well, okay, so some of that story might not be true. You can never fully know with Wikipedia, but probably some truths in some of that. Anyway, that's enough for me this week. I hope you enjoyed my little story and a little bit about French cleats. If you like my story, give me a thumbs up. If you'd like to see some more tales from my workshop, then consider subscribing. And until next week, bye.